What is going on, guys, and welcome back to yet another video, and welcome back to something that I've not brung in quite a while. Now I threw up a Q&A box up onto the Instagram and thought what better to do than to keep this obviously content rolling for as long as I can, keep the videos coming for as long as I can, but also I'm trying to kind of be in the midst of not keep posting very like long videos, because I don't want to just start posting videos that are like 15 to 20 to 25 minutes long, and realistically it does get to the point where they are pretty repetitive videos in the fact that I don't just want to post them because realistically nobody's going to sit and watch them for like 20 minutes long. So I am going to do this Q&A. I'm going to run through as many questions as I can. I'm going to try and kind of keep this video under the 15-minute mark. If I can do that, then that'll be an absolute bonus. But you guys know me, I just literally ramble on forever, and I can already see that this is like over a minute already. But without further ado, I'm going to crack on with these questions, guys. I do hope you enjoy this video. Of course, if you do enjoy it, I will try and include as much value in this video as possible, of course. Just purely down to the fact that I do feel that you guys can sometimes take quite a lot from these videos, and obviously I don't really put them across as any kind of informative or valuable videos, but I will try and include it as much as possible. I'll try and crack through all of these. I've screenshotted quite a few of them here that I am just going to answer in this video. I'll try and go over them as brief as possible, and then we'll take it from there. But first question, what we've got here is, realistically, how much of a deficit do you need to be in if cutting, e.g. will 200 calories work? Yes, 200 calories will more than work. That is a relatively big deficit to be in. You don't actually need to be in a deficit that is huge. Like, depending on how aggressively you're going to take it and depending on what your output's like, you just need to make sure that your energy balance is going to match up with how much calories you're going to take in against how many calories you're going to put out. So pretty much depending on that, it'll really dictate how much of a deficit you need to be in, along with obviously your goals. You need to take into consideration if you have a time frame in your goal, that will then dictate how long you can diet for, how high you can keep your food, how less of a deficit you need to be in, or how harder of a deficit you need to be in. So you can be in a deficit of 100 calories. Realistically, that's going to get to a point where if your energy that's going out, if it's going to stay the same, then the deficit will stop working. You'll then need to increase it. But if your output is going to be increased, then obviously, for example, you could implement something like cardio or extra steps to make sure that your output's going to be increased. Then you can keep your food the same, as your body will respond either way. But again, time frames and goals are going to be the ones that's going to dictate this. Do you listen to those Machiavelli motivation videos while you work out? Personally, I don't actually listen to them or watch them for that matter while I work out, but outside of the gym I am a big fan of these videos. There are a few different channels that I am very big fans of. I do actually have my few videos that I will kind of tend to stick to. I won't watch every single video. I do have the ones that I've kind of stuck to for actually a significant amount of years, and they're the kind of ones that I'll watch maybe pre-bed, or I'll watch them if I've got like a little bit of downtime to chill, or personally if I'm through a prep phase and or even an off-season phase where I'm maybe not feeling it and I maybe need a little bit of a kind of boost forward, or a little bit of just kind of inspiration from something, or even I'm just wanting something to watch or something to listen to in the background, I will put them on. How to start up coaching and how to grow social media, right? So this is something that is kind of circulating right now. It is quite a big topic right now with regards to obviously growing a coaching business and growing your social medias more than anything else. Now, I will cover obviously the coaching side first. I would always recommend trying to kind of get a little bit of knowledge under your belt before anything else. Like, don't just dive into it because you see everybody doing it. Try and kind of get a bit of research behind you. Try and kind of get to a point where you are familiar and you know what to do. Then what to do is kind of put some feelers out, start maybe working with your friends, start working with family members, start getting a bit of momentum with transformation results, being able to produce work so people can trust you. That's the biggest thing. You need people to trust you. That's going to be the biggest thing with coaching, and for that to happen, you need to be able to produce results in the kind of, or even produce content, valuable content for people to build up that trust, and then you can start offering your services out. But don't kind of go leaping towards people just asking them to work with you, asking for you to coach them. You need to really kind of start building a bit of trust within your following, and then that then leads to obviously the social media side of things. So the content that you are producing on social media is realistically going to fall back on who follows you and who doesn't follow you. But at the same time, you always want to be original. You always want to be yourself on Instagram. Like, this is one thing that is very hard nowadays because of Instagram pretty much being what everybody does, or what everybody has, I should say, what everybody's got access to. Realistically, Instagram's going to dictate absolutely everything, or social media is going to dictate absolutely everything. So what you produce on social media has got to be something that people are going to be able to take value from it, yes, but also be able to see that you are real. You're not trying to be fake. You're not trying to be somebody else, because that's the last thing that you will. It's the last thing that you want to do, and it's the last thing that will actually drive your kind of algorithm up. It'll drive engagement and traction towards your page if you're just continuously trying to be like somebody else. You just need to try and kind of produce content and show people that you have been in these situations, you've been there, you've done it. You don't really want to be giving out things that you've not been there and done it yourself, or you don't really want to be like, I'm not saying that you have to be like a bodybuilder to be an online coach. I'm not saying you have to do an aggressive fat loss phase to be an online coach. You do obviously just need a little bit of knowledge, but at the same time, to build up a little bit of confidence and build up a little bit of trust within people. People want to be able to see that you have been there before them. That is going to be one of the biggest things that people will like to see. Now, obviously, back to the social media side of things, that just goes for your content being the exact same. You can't be producing content that just looks completely fake, or just looks like you've stole it from somebody else's page. You just need to try and be original, be yourself, showcase what you believe in. If you believe in one thing but somebody else doesn't, don't just opt for what they think and go against yourself. Never go against yourself. You just need to be consistent. That's literally the be all or end all. It's just your consistency towards keeping uploading your original content, keeping uploading on a frequent basis. So whether that be every single day, every second day, you just need to be consistent, because if you're not consistent, people will forget about you. Social media platforms will forget about you, and your content will never be pushed. So just be consistent. How would you set up a 4-day training split? So depending obviously on your experience here, if you were a pretty intermediate client and you had been training for quite a few frequent years, I would then look towards more so putting you on a kind of single body part split over the course of the week. You can actually progress off of that amount of volume throughout the week, obviously splitting your body parts up into single body parts. But if you're a little bit earlier in your training career, and you're not necessarily just a beginner, but a little bit earlier in your career, I would then look towards moving you on to a upper lower split. So then again, you can obviously split your volume and your frequency over the course of the week, over the course of 4 different sessions, and it will mean that you will be implementing just maybe a little bit, if you can, a little bit more volume across the full body over the course of 4 days with an upper lower split. But like I said, depending obviously on your training experience and your training age, training years, that would really dictate how you would get put onto a 4-day training split. Have you ever competed in other sports? Yes, I have actually professionally wrestled for around 4.5 years before I made the major decision to call it a day and move to just solely bodybuilding. That was around kind of 2018. So I wrestled all around the world. You could say I wrestled in many different countries. It was probably one of like my most favourite things to ever do. Growing up as a child, I always wanted to be a professional wrestler. That was always my goal. I loved WWE. I loved going to all the wrestling events, and that was definitely one of my biggest goals. And I'd done everything I could from when I was 16 years old to make sure that I could achieve that one dream and that one goal. I did it. I achieved what I wanted to achieve, and I just had to call it a day because the bodybuilding was taking over, and there just wasn't enough time in the day to be able to perform both of them at 110%. And you guys will know me, I wouldn't do anything unless I was able to go all in. So I had to make that hard decision. It wasn't the nicest, but I made it, and I feel now that it most definitely was the right decision to do, and we've just had to move on from there. But I'll always be a bigger, in fact I think since I've left it, I became an even bigger fan. Like I always watch, I always love to watch it, and I'll still support all the boys that I wrestled with, and I'll still support everybody, and to see them do very well just inspires me to do even better in bodybuilding. So it's always good, and I'm always still close to the people that I was always around, and to see them obviously succeed now, obviously compared to where they were when I obviously wrestled with them, it's just amazing. So yeah, we called it a day in 2019 potentially, I think it was 2018, and then moved to solely bodybuilding. When is the best time of day to take Basic? So Basic, the saturation formula, for anybody that doesn't know, is a hydration drink from HR Labs, in which you can actually take at any point of the day. The only time I wouldn't recommend taking it would be as close to your pre-workout supplementation. So obviously if you can keep it away from that so you don't kind of allow for any digestion problems, then you should be grand to take it at any other point of the day. I personally take mine before bed, and that does me perfectly fine. And again, because it's got no caffeine or anything in it, you don't have to worry about taking it later on in the day. Most proud set you've ever done? I think I'm going to have to either put this down as my 300 kilo squat for the first time ever, or I think it's going to have to be the 320 triple on the deadlift, because I worked so fucking hard for that, and I kept turning up and I kept getting hit with multiple situations and circumstances of why I couldn't do it, and or why I wasn't in the right kind of situation to be able to do it and everything. I just kept turning up and turning up and turning up. And that one night I went in, I'll never forget it. The one night I went in and I knew it was on, and the first rep was pulled, and I was so confident that I was going to get the triple that night, and I was so happy afterwards. And I think that's definitely going to be put down as my most proudest set, just purely because I grafted so hard for it and I kept turning up for it. But I think also I have to always take into consideration my first time ever when I pulled 300 kilo at 20 years old. I actually went in, I failed it the first time I tried it, and I turned up the week later at the exact same time. I pulled 300 at the exact same specific time that I pulled it the week before when I failed it. And I literally had the mindset of not being able to fail it again, because if I thought that I failed it again, I don't know, something else would have happened. And I think everything that was just driving me through that set, I was so proud to be able to actually lock out 300 kilo, because it felt so unrealistic at one point, and to a lot of people it was like just something that shouldn't happen. And I was getting so many people coming to me like, oh yeah, we're just waiting to see the 300 now. But it was like oh yeah, we're just waiting to see the 300 now, as if it was never going to happen. And I knew 110%, if I fully believed it, I seen it, I knew it was going to happen, and it did. So I think that's definitely one as well. Testosterone opinion for natties. This is again something that is very much circulating right now in the bodybuilding industry just as a whole, and I personally don't believe there is anywhere near as much research done that should have been done before anything like this was released. Now, not that that's ever going to happen, because realistically, if we look at things like anabolics, it wasn't just introduced before somebody had all of this knowledge under the sun. It was literally just introduced, and you had to gain them, you had to build the knowledge from that, right? So I think obviously that's something else, that this has just came on the scene now. A lot of places are doing it, a lot of people are getting their hands on it, a lot of people are taking it, a lot of natural athletes are taking it. And personally myself, it's never going to be something that I am going to entertain, because at the same time I just don't believe in something right now, especially. I don't think there's as much research. I've watched multiple videos, I've done my research on it, and from what I've been able to see from it, I still don't think there's enough for me to actually be able to give it like clarity and give it like some sort of oomph to the point of where I should say, yeah, it is actually something that works. I think it's just something that a lot of people are taking because they believe it's some sort of natural steroid, in which I genuinely don't believe it is. Like, what I've seen of it anyway, and what people are getting from it, like a lot of people aren't gaining anything from it, a lot of people are saying they are gaining things from it, but I mean, it's just not enough to be able to be like, right, that's gonna definitely give me enough to be like, right, here's my money, I'm gonna start taking it. Like, it's so expensive as well. Like, that's one thing I have noticed, is it's so expensive for what it actually is. For this being some sort of natural supplement that can give you the same amount of something like an anabolic steroid can give you, or what it's been put across as, I just don't think there's been enough like research and that behind it for me to just take it. So it's definitely something that I'm never going to take. If anything, my biggest opinion on it is, don't waste your money on something like that. Make sure you've got your diet on plan, make sure you've got your supplementation to aid your diet, and then don't introduce something that's not 110% had its research done over the course of years. Like, it's something brand new, a lot of people are jumping onto it, a lot of people aren't seeing much from it, a lot of people are seeing strength gains from it, they're saying, but I just genuinely think it's a waste of money, in my opinion. I don't think it's, well, I mean, like I say, it's never going to be something that I'm ever going to take. I think I would need to know a lot more about it. That's really my kind of end answer. I don't really have a major opinion of it. I can't really have an opinion of something that I don't know too much about, and something that I've never taken in my life. Like, I've not got any experiences with it or anything like that, although a lot of people would really like to think I have because of the amount of messages that I've had. But yeah, that is all it's going to be from this Q&A, guys. I do hope, of course, you were able to take something from it. I hope you did also enjoy it. If you did enjoy it, then please do not forget to drop the video a like for me, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and I will see you all in the next video.